They said Rowan Blackwell feared nothing. Not the markets he controlled, not the empires he built, not the men who tried and failed to take him down. He was power incarnate, a billionaire forged from ice and iron. People bowed to him. People trembled for him. People watched every flicker of his expression like it was the weather report for their careers. Which was why the world stood still the day he bowed to a woman they had insulted. But that day hadn't come yet. It began long before, on a rain-soaked morning, when Noelle Crest walked into Blackwell Tower for the first time, wearing a second-hand blazer and a pair of shoes that pinched her toes with every step. She had no connections, no pedigree, no polished resume, just desperation and a capacity for hard work no one ever believed she possessed. She needed this job. She needed any job, really, even if it meant stepping into a building where the staff whispered about the CEO like he was a storm system capable of flattening anything in its path. Noelle approached the front desk, tucking an escaped strand of hair behind her ear. "Hi, I'm here for the junior data assistant interview." The receptionist didn't look up from her screen. Name? Noelle Crest. She typed something, frowned slightly. Noelle wasn't sure if it was about her, the system, or life in general, then pointed toward the elevator. 49th floor, don't be late. Noelle pressed her lips together, forcing a polite smile. People rarely used manners with her. They treated her like she was already beneath them, like her presence ruined the shine in their marble tiles. She stepped into the elevator, inhaling deeply. Just survive, she told herself. Just get through the day. The elevator opened into a sleek hallway where everything gleamed: marble floors, glass walls, silver nameplates. Noelle felt like she was made of dust in comparison. She took a seat in the waiting room, surrounded by applicants who looked like they belonged, in magazines' perfect hair, designer portfolios, confidence dripping from every word. They glanced at her the way people glance at a smudge on glass. One whispered to another, "She won't last 5 minutes." Another snorted softly, "Blackwell will eat her alive." Noelle pretended not to hear. She'd heard worse. Growing up invisible teaches you how to breathe through humiliation. A door opened. Noelle Crest. Her stomach tightened. She stood, smoothing her thrifted skirt. Inside the interview room sat a panel of 3 managers. Only 3 questions in, Noelle knew she didn't stand a chance. Every answer she gave, honest, humble, practical, was met with disinterest. The man on the left even checked his phone twice. She finished speaking, and silence stretched like a thin, cruel wire. "Thank you," the lead manager finally said, in a tone that meant, "You can leave now." She walked out as quietly as she'd entered, her chest sinking not because she expected to be hired, but because she hated how small she felt, how easily people dismissed her. As she turned toward the elevator, someone collided with her shoulder. Her papers flew everywhere. "Oh, I'm so sorry," she murmured, kneeling to gather them. Laughter rippled. A woman in a sharp scarlet blazer stood above her, arms crossed. "Maybe try watching where you're going. God, people will let anyone in this building." A chorus of snickers followed. Heat burned behind Noelle's eyes. She gathered her papers quickly and stood, cheeks warm, throat tight. She wanted to disappear, to fold herself into nothingness. She stepped into the elevator, bracing herself to cry, the moment the doors closed. But they didn't close. A hand caught them. A tall figure stepped inside broad shoulders beneath a charcoal suit. Presence sharp enough to shift the air. The scent of dark cedar and cold rain clung to him like a second skin. Noelle didn't look up at first. She was too busy holding herself together. But then she felt it, that strange, unexplainable instinct that tells you someone powerful is standing beside you. She lifted her gaze and froze. His eyes were a rare shade blue so deep it felt like the Atlantic in winter. His jaw was clean cut, his expression unreadable, his posture commanding without a word. No mistaking him. No one else carried gravity like that. Rowan Blackwell, the billionaire, the storm, the man people feared more than losing their jobs. He glanced at her papers, then at her trembling hands. "Rough day?" he asked, voice low, smooth, unexpected. Noelle swallowed. Something like that. His eyes held hers for just a second, too long enough to send heat curling into her chest. Before she could say anything else, the elevator doors slid open to the lobby. She stepped out quickly, eager to escape, before embarrassment crushed her completely. But Rowan's voice followed her. "Noelle." She froze mid-step. Slowly she turned. He stepped out of the elevator, hands in his pockets, gaze steady. "Be in my office tomorrow morning at 8. Her heart nearly stopped. "Well, why?" His expression didn't shift. "Because I don't like wasting talent." "But you don't even know me." His eyes softened not gently, but knowingly. "I know enough." The elevator doors closed behind him, leaving Noelle standing in the lobby, breath shaking, mind spinning. She had no idea that Rowan Blackwell had seen. Everything, the insults, the humiliation, the dismissal. And he wasn't the kind of man who forgot injustice, especially not when it happened to the woman he couldn't look away from. Noelle barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Rowan Blackwell's face, sharp, unreadable, impossibly intense. She kept replaying the moment he'd said her name, the way it sounded in his voice. Deep, certain, like he wasn't asking her to show up. He was expecting her. By sunrise, her stomach was a knot of nerves, but she forced herself into her best clothes, still thrifted, still imperfect, and arrived at Blackwell Tower 30 minutes early. The receptionist eyed her skeptically. "You again?" "I have a meeting with Mr. Blackwell." The woman blinked, then blinked again. "Mr. Blackwell doesn't meet with candidates." "I know, but he told me to." Before she could finish, the head of security approached. "Ms. Crest, follow me." Whispers rose instantly. Why her? She must have done something. Maybe she's in trouble. But Noelle walked quietly behind the guard, heart pounding. The elevator climbed to the top floor, the one no one ever accessed unless summoned. When the doors opened, she stepped into a stunning private suite of offices, all glass and steel and unspoken authority. And there he was. Rowan Blackwell stood by the window, hands in his pockets, gaze on the rain, streaking down the skyline. When he turned, his eyes found her instantly, as if he'd been tracking her the whole time. "Noelle," he said, voice softer than yesterday, but still carrying that quiet command. "Mr. Blackwell," she whispered. He motioned for her to sit. She did, hands folded tightly in her lap. "You were overlooked yesterday," he said calmly. Dismissed. His gaze sharpened, insulted. Heat crept up her neck. "You saw that?" "I see everything that happens in my building." She swallowed, unsure how to respond. Rowan walked closer, stopping on the other side of the desk. "Tell me something, Noelle. Why did you come here?" Her breath hitched. She could lie, but something about him made honesty slip out easier than breath. "Because I'm tired of being small," she said quietly. "Tired of being treated like I don't matter. His expression changed just slightly, enough to look like the words hit deeper than they should. You do matter, his voice dropped, more than they know. She blinked. Why do you care? A slow, controlled exhale left him. He ran a hand along the edge of the desk, almost as if grounding himself. Because I've been surrounded my entire life by people who pretend, people who want something from me, people who fear me. His eyes locked onto hers, unwavering. And you don't. Noelle's pulse stumbled. I don't fear you. You looked me in the eyes yesterday. His tone softened, almost amused. Most people can't. Silence hummed between them. Then Rowan stepped around the desk closer, slower, deliberate, until he stood in front of her, tall enough that she had to tilt her head to hold his gaze. I'm offering you a position, he said, my personal junior analyst. You'll work directly under me. Her breath caught. Why me? Because you're capable, because you're sharp, because you're honest. A pause, a breath, and because the people who insulted you will answer to me. Noelle's eyes widened. Rowan, you don't have to. I do, he said, voice steady. No one disrespects someone in my building and walks away without consequence. Something warm and electric slid through her chest. He wasn't defending her out of charity. He wasn't offering pity. He wasn't trying to save her. He was recognizing her, seeing her, choosing her. Rowan Blackwell didn't bow to anyone. People trembled when he entered a room. Executives stepped aside. Competitors cowered. But that morning, he did something no one in the building would believe, unless they saw it themselves. He lowered his head just slightly, a gesture softer than a bow, but undeniable, and said quietly, "Let me open the door they tried to close on you." Noelle's heart shook. Because the billionaire everyone feared was giving power and respect to the woman they insulted. And something deeper, something dangerous was beginning to bloom between them.